I'm so excited to welcome Bryan. We met through Evie, and he is my gay bestie and just such a badass. Yes, he sold over 700 million in real estate and finance over his career and has been ranked top 1.5% nationally. Realtor of the Year, top 5, like top 500 in San Diego with over 30,000 agents there and over 22 years in the business where most people can't even survive too. So excited to learn from you, especially because so Bryan is so resilient and just such a badass because he did all this while battling some health issues. And
Yeah.
I just can't wait to hear your story and like all the insights that you have to share because I think it's so in alignment with a lot of what I believe in, which is like you can be a victor or a victim and you can choose, you can play victim to your circumstances. But for you, it's like you thrived. You didn't just survive. You thrived in spite of everything that was thrown your way. And so I think this is going to be a really special one because I think so many agents come up with a million excuses. And if anyone would have an excuse, you would be that person, yet you didn't have any excuses. You just made it work. And you still like are such an amazing human being and an amazing realtor. Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for making time, Bryan. I'm so excited to connect with you.
You're welcome.
I know it's like friendship, love at first sight is what I say. Definitely kindred spirits, and I love your heart and energy. Aw. Yeah, so let's start from the beginning, right? How did you get started in this industry and how did you get to where you are today? Like, was this your first career? Did you do other things?
Nope, I did. So I went my family's all from Pittsburgh. I was raised in Orange County. When it came time to go to college, I came down here to go to school in San Diego. Then when I was done with school, I'll make it fast. When I was done with school, first job out of college, I did State Farm Insurance. I was an adjuster. I was like, never. This is awful. And then I went to law school. And then I was working as a law clerk for 10 years. I went to law school. I really enjoyed. I didn't really enjoy law school, to be honest. It was a pain in the ass. But it's also, it'll test your resilience. It'll be your first test of resilience because he'll beat you up for days there. And then everything the way that it worked out, like I was highly involved in everything, basically kind of running all the ins and outs of the firm that I was with. And then I got really sick.
Okay.
Didn't know what was going on. And what it was, I kept going to the doctor for like 2 years and being like, I have this weird pain in my back. And I kept saying it's like an inside pain. And they'd be like, okay, exercise, take a pain pill. I'm like, I'm not taking a pain pill, no thanks. So then I went through that. Wes and I, when we first got together, we were together about 22 years. He was like, you're going to the hospital tonight. I don't know, something's wrong for sure. Let's just go. So we went. I was there like 2 in the morning. The doctor comes down and says, like, are all your affairs in order? Remember, I'm only like 35 at this point. I mean, holy heck.
Oh my God.
For some people, that sounds old, like, then I'm ancient. So, but like, then he came in and it was like, you have a massive tumor on your kidney, behind your heart, blah, 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 all this boring stuff. Anyway, long story boring, ended up in the hospital, very sick after they got it out. They thought I wasn't going to make it, 0. And took him like 10 days to be able to do surgery because it took like 5 specialists in there. Long story boring. I got through that one and I got out. But what I did is I realized I wanted to make some changes in my life that allowed me to what I perceived would give me more control of my time. Hilarious. So I go into real estate. I probably thought that was just so funny. So what I did is I bounced into mortgage first. And I did that for like the first 6 years. Did wild amounts of mortgage. Wild. I also used to want to bash my head on the computer because mortgage is the stuff for me. I didn't want to do it. And I was back in the day, girl, where you would have like rate sheets and you have to automatically price out people's loans versus just going into a computer and entering the variables. So it was a very different time. Market imploded in 2008. And I was like, I got to figure out, I hate doing mortgage. What can I do? And people kept coming to me like, can I refinance? Can I do this? And they were all having a short sale. Teamed up with an agent, and I was like, I'll handle this part, the negotiation. Well, no, after a year or so, I'm like, never mind, move out of my way. I want to do this myself. And I love real estate. I do. I really, really, really love real estate. Was I jumping up and down about it then? Like, I only did listings. I didn't get it when I first got it. Buyers would call, and I'd be like, we don't do buyers. I'd be so stupid. I didn't understand. You could refer one out. Didn't understand. You could leverage one. I just was super consumed with little indie brokerage, doing my sales, doing my listings. And I'd have the bigger brokerages come after me, but I'd be like, never. I will never. Well, after 2015, 16, I went to, which is very reverse, I understand, went to KW, stayed at KW for 7 years. Most people go there when they're newer. That's another wrong assumption about the company. And I loved it. I did. It was great. I have friends all over the country, really great referral partners all over the country. We're like a family, but I needed more and I needed to switch. So moving out of that into England brokers was amazing. And now here we are. That's my quick little catch up on it. I'll answer any other questions. So we're here 22 years later, still standing. I mean, it's tricky.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're good health-wise for the most part, right? Was
yeah.
And your husband, he is a lender.
He's a lender. He picked up. He worked when I was doing loans. I did. I'm talking wild amounts of business. He was like my full-time processor. We were already together, but I'm saying like this is a perfect setup for you. And like mortgage, I knew long term there was no chance I was going to be able to stay and keep doing it. So Wes assumed that part. I did all the sales. I am very, very, very people oriented. I'm also, the thing that bothered me about the real estate industry, honestly, is barrier to entry, solo. And then you have so many ding dongs everywhere. You can throw a rock and hit one in the head. Not being rude, I'm just being real. It is. They don't have a high. Wait. So you can go from doing whatever. I'm trying not to be rude about it. One night, and then the next day you're selling somebody's asset. Like, no. There needs to be. Anyway, that's a whole other diatribe. But we need higher proficiency, higher caliber in the industry. And I felt like, well, I'll do my part. I'll get in there. I'll work. I'll look at it every day. I mean, that's all you can do. And then find the beautiful people like you, where you become like a national family and you're there for everybody, your client. And you can always talk about best practices when we're traveling, when we're going to conferences. I mean, there's a lot about that. I just go to conferences to learn. I'm an old dude. England Bulkers, I will say, has given me some really good shift changes in my head of how to do real estate. And I've always been pretty high level about it and very, very, very hardcore about service, etc. But England Bulkers going there has been the best thing that could have happened. And it's the first time I found in real estate like a collection of amazing humans that don't just get in the front door, that are they're great advisors, and they're smart, and they have a good heart. I kind of call it the marriage of like KW and Sotheby's is what I call it. I just love it. How did you find EB again? What were you? How did you find England Bulkers?
So I used to own the Christie's, here in Vegas.
That's right.
When Christie's got acquired.
That's right.
Yeah, when Christie's got acquired by App Properties, we thought that it felt like it diluted the brand and the prestige. And so Christie's used to be like, I'm a purse girl, so I always use personalities. I'm like, Christie's used to be like Hermes, but imagine Hermes gets bought out by like Michael Kors, and you're like, that's weird. And then I was like, okay, well, I want something prestigious. And I think I always say Engel Vokers is like the Louis Vuitton of real estate brokerages. If you want the Louis Vuitton, it's luxury, but at an affordable price point. You know, there's fun, like it's fun, it's young, it's hip, but it's still luxury and it's like trendy and it's always ahead of the trends. And I felt like Hermes, it's very old money, and just like Louis Vuitton is new money. Same kind of thing with EV, where I feel like this is the people who are self-made, whereas that brand was more like legacy money, generational, like, you know, their grandfather made it. And I love EV for like that grit and that like tenacity where people are, they made it themselves. Like, you know, we're all self-made. We came from nothing. We didn't come from, you know, generations of wealth, and we built that from the ground up. And so I love the like just that work ethic and how humble people are, like what we talked about earlier, where the vast majority of advisors I've met through EV, they treat the $200,000 buyer the same as they treat the $20 million buyer, and it's luxury at every price point, which I love because I don't like the pretentiousness. Because even though you and I are at this level in our lives, I feel like it's still remembering where you came from and being humble and treating people with kindness and just like a decent human being, and that's what I love about it. Yeah, I think that's so important.
I did a very small stint. So, okay, say what to say. And when we do this for Sotheby's, I did that for like 9 or 10 months. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great brand. I'm happy for all of them.
Yeah.
It just didn't resonate with me the same as it does with everyone else. I love it. There's some people there that I really like that are amazing. And then there's a lot of people that are
I love some people at Sotheby's too.
Wow. I mean, it's a little stuffy, sorry. I think it's a great company for the people that love it. People that fit it, I love a lot of them. They're sweet people. It just didn't float my boat. It didn't. And then if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have found Halo and Volker. What I love about EV is like, we're advisors. It's like you said, like it's higher level people. You just can't get in the front door. Yes, Volker's is luxury, just the same as Sotheby's. Well, like Stuart, who's vice president of private office, which is and Volker's things for people listening. He's the one that started Sotheby's International Realty. So really, it's a cool story. And he left that, and he's the one that brought Volker's over to the Americans. And I just love that. So for me, it couldn't be any more compatible. It couldn't be any more aligned. You're beautiful. Everyone I met that I love, like, it's so easy in terms of like, there's great people and you want to help and jump in. And the times we're in real estate right now, shit, now more than ever, people, get off your ass. We need community, not toxicity, not, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, you just keep going. You keep adapting. You keep changing. That's another form of resilience that people that are able-bodied, I wish they would get that. Like, you just, instead of worrying about all the negativity, instead of getting toxic, instead of sitting there and writing essays about this, that, and the other thing, about lawsuits, how we're paid, show your value, this, that, I'm always like, this is why consumers or clients have a disdain for the real estate industry. They do. Like, there's just agents I don't think people realize what they're putting out there in public and how that looks to a consumer. When you're sitting on your G-Wagon and you're the front of your popping thing, that doesn't always translate for people, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. I like EVs. Yes, there's super smart people down to earth.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love a lot of things that you say about the mindset, and focusing on positivity is so important, just like you said. I think there has been a lot of talk about this whole NAR settlement, all this tough stuff, but what I've encountered is actually quite the opposite. And it's like, the whole your vibe attracts your tribe. It's as true for your colleagues and your friends as it is for your clients. And what I found is that, like, a lot of the people I've worked with, they're entrepreneurs, they're investors, they are developers, and they're business people. And they're the ones who first start with, hey, this 3% commission is not going away because we value our partners. We understand that the time, the energy, the effort you spend is worth that money, because I, as an entrepreneur or developer, don't want to spend that time. And when they have more money than they do time, they understand the value. And that's how people get to that point when they have more money than time, when they understand the value of experts and outsourcing and hiring specialists. And that's what I realized is, like, yes, it's luxury at all price points, but the only people I would want to work with anyway are the people who value what we do and who respect what we do. If they don't respect our profession and they don't respect our professionalism, then it's not someone you want as a client anyway. So why are you all caught up in this proposed settlement that, first of all, sellers never legally had to offer anything to begin with? It's just the proposed settlement is a whole hot mess, I think. But I think it's just people are too caught up in this media hype, the negativity. And I was like, it doesn't really affect things that much. I was like, I'm from the commercial world, as you know, and on the commercial real estate side of the business, we've always operated like that. There was never technically a co-op offered anywhere. We always had to figure it out and negotiate it. And even if someone told me that verbally, I've negotiated where I got like 0.5% more. And I've also negotiated, like tried to negotiate, and I've only gotten 0.5% on some deals, which is fine by me, because I'm like, it's about the service and the value I'm providing for the client. So I agree with you. I'm like, as always.
That's the part I think.
And I know. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
The last couple of listings that I just put on, only 1 or 2 people asked. I was like, look, do you want your house to sell for top dollar? Because I promise you, we do the math on this. You are going to get a way more solid, way more significant offer than not offering buyer's agent compensation or co-op offering representation compensation. Here's the thing, though, with that. Like, I don't want somebody to not have their own representation. Now, I'm a weirdo that way. Even me as a real estate or me as an advisor, when I bought a place, I've always had a friend or somebody come in and be like, here, represent me. I can represent myself for days. I'm talking about if I buy a personal place that I'm personally invested in, you know how my heart is. I'll fall in love with it. Yes, people say it's just a house or business. Well, I wish that I was so good about being able to separate those two damn things. I don't really separate personal and business very well. So like house to me, I could never look at as a business. And so anyone, I feel like the client base that I work with, you're right. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Like we immediately were tethered. I was like in love with you moment one. So it's true though. And that energetically comes off. And I want to be, if you want to be surrounded by the naysayers that won't be around for long, like there's so many people out there, like you better know they're writing their own ticket out of here. That's the sad part. Actually, we do need to thin out the herd anyway. So it's kind of nice that that's happening. I don't mean that with any disregard of negativity. You know, it's just like there's people that have no damn business being in this industry. There's people that have no damn business selling somebody's $10 million house or somebody's $400,000 house. They don't. I wish people would understand you can level people's lives by not giving them the highest level, highest service, highest information, everything across the board. I get really passionate about it. I fucking love doing real estate.
No, I'm the same way. I've been advocating for. So I used to own. Huh? I'm sorry. No, I'm the same way. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I've been advocating for like having an apprentice kind of thing for years because I used to own a salon and spa. I don't know if you know. So my sister-in-law is in that industry, and I was just her co-founder and angel investor. But in the beauty industry, if you're doing someone's hair, you have to apprentice with someone and have your hours before you can practice on your own. And in real estate, I'm surprised that they don't have an apprentice period where you have to shadow and have a mentor for a number of years before you can practice on your own. Because I'm like, in real estate, you're dealing with someone's biggest purchase of their entire life. Sometimes it's like their life savings, and people can just, you know, like you said earlier, just step in from another career industry with no mentorship, with no like training, and just do this. And that's crazy to me because I agree with you where I think people need at least a year of mentorship and apprenticeship where they actually shadow someone, where they actually learn and observe and really understand the ropes. So I agree with you. And that's one of the best people, that's what I agree. Yeah. Tough. Yeah.
It's sort of like the appraisers. So if you want to be an appraiser.
Yes.
No, but it's like the appraisers. If you don't just get to go out and appraise, you have to be like an apprentice, if you will. And you have to put in a lot of hours before you can start to write on your own stuff. Why the hell would that not be the same with, I love you so much. I'm telling you right now, for the last 22 years, I have jumped up and down and said that. Like when I went into mortgage, like, look, I'm coming out of law. So what if I have my Juris Doctor? Yes, I can read and do contracts and whatever. I'm not licensed attorney, but I can do all those things. And yet people would worry about just the weirdest shit. I wish they would have some kind continuing education in real estate is oftentimes a joke, as we know. Like you can get that done in a couple of weeks. And it's really like the same thing every 4 years over and over. Maybe some minor tweaks of things that have happened. But I also think that the people that aren't full-time, like in San Diego, there's 1,500 of us. Out of all that big number that you had said right when we started, that do 10 transactions for a year. 1,500 in a city of 4 million, in a city of 30,000 licenses. Like when you start to peel that back, it's a great state on what real estate looks like in general. I think we were talking about that. Remember, like you can look like you could be in the business 10 years and do 4 deals, or you could be in the business 10 years and do 5,000 deals. It just depends on who you are. But bottom line is, if you're only doing a deal or 2 a year, you're not doing anybody any service. I'm sorry. Where would you have gotten the mass absorption, if you will, of exposure, talent, transaction, touching the hot stove and getting burned? Oopsie, I thought this was going to be a perfect setup to run my business. Failing forward. I mean, that kind of shit doesn't get talked about. Instead, everyone wants to do a highlight.
I know,
like,
I love that.
Fabulous. And I love to be fabulous. Don't get me wrong, but I also like to be very transparent and real. I do.
Yeah. This is why I love you. I'm the same way where I was like, I love that.
I love you. I
love that.
I wish people.
No, I was going to say, I love you for that and talking about these things, because I always say I learn my best lessons through failures and fuck ups. That's what I tell everyone.
Yeah.
They're like, how do you? I was like, I learned all my lessons through failures and fuck ups. But you need volume, just like you're saying. You need the exposure to deals. You need the exposure to deals to get there. And it's like, when I started, I'm on the commercial side, like I mentioned, and I was on a team for the first like 3.5, 4 years, because that's what gave me the volume. And exactly what you're saying, but even like more so when people are trying to do commercial deals, and I've been doing commercial real estate for 13 years now, right? And I see these residential agents that do 1 to 2 commercial deals a year and they want to run a deal, and I'm like, that is such a disservice to your client. Like, you are leaving tens, sometimes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands on the table because you don't understand the market. And I'm just like, you could get sued for this. It's an E&O error because you're not a specialist. Like, you're representing that you understand something that you clearly don't. And yeah, and exactly. So I am in agreement with you, where I think people need to really, and I think that's one of the major keys to success. I always tell new agents, I'm like, if you're a new agent, find a mentor. Find someone who you can apprentice and work under, because that's going to shorten your like learning curve, and you're going to condense decades into days, right? You can condense their decades of experience into like a lot less time. Decades into days that's what Tony Robbins always says, and I agree with that, because it's so true. Like, I had amazing mentors when I started, and that's why I cut my learning curve by a fraction of what people in the industry, because I started and I was willing to, and I was on a team where it's like I had 2 mentors, so I was on a 1/3 split with the team, and then in commercial real estate, you're on a 50-50 with CBRE, with the company. And people nowadays are like, oh, I don't want to be on a team because I don't want to split my commission. And I'm like, 100% of zero is still zero. I'd rather take 50% of 200, 300, 500,000. Right? So I think that the penny wise pound foolish is a big mistake.
And it's exactly. It is, unfortunately, it's really prevalent. It's out there. It's so stupid. I had one the other day where the agent called me and was like, look, it's a special set of circumstances. I'm not going to take a referral fee, but I want you to credit back to the buyer 25% of commission. And I was like, okay, it's a good thing it's military. And number 2, I'm not short-sighted. If I would have been paying a 25% referral fee, all right, so I'm going to give the guy 30% back to buy his $900,000 purchase. He's military. Like, no. I'll help where I can in those ways. What happens is you see people, it's cracks me up. Anytime like a referral pod or something will come up, it'll be like, I'm not going to pay that. I'm not paying 50, which I agree. I wouldn't pay 40%. I wouldn't pay 50%. I just wouldn't do that to another agent, for another agent. But at the end of the day, for clients, I wish people would remember that's who we're serving. And times are tough in terms of, I love it. We let the market get super hard. I'm down. It makes me thrive even more when it's hard. But people need that stellar reputation. They need that representation where you're all in. I know some people think like you sign up your whole life for real estate. Yeah, if you want to be successful in real estate, you're going to sign off part of your life. The way that I've found out about when I say signing off part of my life is like where I fill those holes in is like when we travel or we're going to go see you guys, we're going to network, we're going to mastermind. That's just the way that I've been able to rationalize some of the extreme time commitment. And some people, now that I'm older and I got it down, like, no. I wish I figured out leverage from day effing one, moment one. It'd been so much fucking better. Like, I hate showing houses, for example. I always hated that part. But I'll show luxury all day. I would do commercial. But I love the people, don't get me wrong. It's just a matter of like my best skills, my best talents, especially during pandemic where this is where I really made a lot of changes. Was like, what? I'm going to be out all day for 12 hours a day, running around with my assistant, showing people houses. 9 million people are going to want to write offers, deadline. It didn't make any sense. So it gave me really a good and for other people, agents that are out there that are afraid, don't be afraid to leverage. Like you said, when you're starting, get on a team and split it 50%. The team's going to support you, give you leads, train you. And if they don't, you shouldn't be on that team. You also really have to find your people. Does that make sense? It's a big part. I think part of the success in real estate is also finding your people, not just clients, but also vendors. Everyone who's affiliated with me, doesn't matter what in what capacity you're doing it. If you don't give the level of service and responsiveness that we give, you can't be a vendor of ours. I will never refer anyone that does not treat our clients like gold. And anyone who refers to me, I would never treat their clients anything but like gold myself. So I am like a little bit, I'm super easy, super sweet, but like, no. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm like, bam, 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 because I want everyone taking care. I just feel like in real estate, and tell me if you ever have felt this. There's too many people that don't give a shit. They're more worried about their paychecks than the people. Or they're so desperate to have a deal.
Yes.
It's because that I have a huge problem. I really do.
Yeah.
And it shows.
That's completely against. So yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I agree. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I can't stand people like that because it's actually one of our core values is serve, don't sell, and that's what I lead with. I lead with our core values when I'm interviewing advisors. So out of every maybe 10 advisors that I interview, I say no to 9 of them, and I only say yes to 1 because of that reason. Because too many agents come to this industry, and just because of the money that they see and I always say, if you go into business to solve problems, you will make money. If you go into business to make money, you will get problems. And it's all about the purpose and who you're helping and the people. And if you chase the commissions and you try to chase the money, you're going to fail is what I tell people. I'm straight up.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you. It's all about the purpose. It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And
you need to care.
Wow, I care so much, it's crazy. And I wish that I would have been one of those people that had a stronger show, but nah, I'm always going to be a sensitive guy. I'm always going to be a loving guy. Yeah. I can be a bitch for days, don't get me wrong. Yeah. You got to push me really far, but I can be. I really believe there's not enough, I know I've said it already, but there's not enough collaboration. Another thing I like about EV, they're serious when they say collaboration over competition. I know that there's other brokerages that might say something a little similar. Bullshit. I don't want to say. Just to say, what I've seen at EV, I have never seen it in another brokerage in 22 years. When they lay down, which is why I loved it. So I'm in love with it for days. People are making fun of me. They're like, tell me about that brand. I was like, no, it's not for you. But there are ones where it really would be great. Or you know, just the psychology of real estate. That's something people miss all the time. If people don't think there's a lot of psychology in real estate, you probably should get out. That means you're not paying attention to all the cues. Coming to EV, like you said, even we're like, no, 9 of the 10 people they say no to. I love that. It's not because they're not operating under a model where they just have to keep bringing bodies in because of those other like pay structure or compensation models. I understand people want to keep more money in their pocket, but then do it. You're not going to have the wild support. You're not going to be surrounded by the same level of people. And you're not ever, after being at EV, I'm like, you'll never get access to the wild shit that we have. It's really cool stuff. That's why I say with EV, we have a different way of doing business in real estate than I've ever had in 22. And I've always been like high service. And there's a lot of it, you were asking about the health stuff, just to put it out so that people don't make up the narrative for me. So when I got past that adrenal tumor, I was on disability for months. It was scary. It was bad. And then that was fine. As I be together.
Was it cancerous or it was not cancer?
It ended up being it was just they thought it was. I swear to you. I swear, are your affairs in order? I was like, how could this? Yes, they are. Fortunately, but I'm 35 years old. Wasn't planning on going anywhere. So then after, it was the most horrific, like 3 weeks in the hospital. And then I had to be on disability because it screwed up my hormones. Then I got disability for like 4 months. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm going nuts. So I did the mortgage. I'll tell you this. After that, when I went into sales, things were great. My health was doing really good. Well, around 2010, I was like, something, but in my head, I'm not a complainer. You can ask anyone who knows me. I don't say it usually until it's too late. I'm a weirdo that way about health. So I wasn't saying anything. I'm like, I know I don't feel the same. I'm not feeling perfect, this and that. My handwriting was getting small. Like, I started to have all these problems with my GI tract. It was just so, my vocal cords on the radio show that I had for 7 years and on the news. The radio show especially, people would be, especially people that have known me for decades or from high school to college. I mean, people that have stayed in my life all these years, they would call and be like, something's wrong with your voice. Like, it's going out by the end. I'm like, you know me, I'm always talking, it's fine. No. So all that early onset Parkinson's. So early onset Parkinson's, most people think it's mobility only that it takes you down. No, not when it's early onset. It takes you down from the inside out, or it tries really hard. It tries. So and they didn't diagnose this. They kept missing it. Then I had some major other surgeries. If you know how many surgeries I had in the last 12 years, you die. Then and I don't know, like 80% of them actually I was out of here every time. So I don't have a lot of fear. I have a lot of faith in what my faith is. The stuff we were talking about when we were in Vegas. I wanted to be exploring other stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like all the times I've been in it, it's done wild things to me. It does have I never really had much of a filter, for example, but that does, the medication for that. I've just realized recently, I really have no filter. So I've got to like be careful about that. Then they still hadn't diagnosed it. Then I was still going. Everything was great, popping. And then in 2014, they found on my back, I'm like, the side of my back is so weird. I don't know what's going on. Regular doctor again, missed it. Went to a neurosurgeon because my left foot kept going numb. And it wouldn't like wake up for 5 hours. Then I went to a neurosurgeon, ended up in the hospital. They said it's going to be 1 fusion, 2 days in the hospital, maybe 4 weeks recovery max. No, not Bryan Garrity style. Never ever. It's always going to be the jackpot of shit. So they got in there, and I have an autoimmune disorder. It's called Wolf's disease. On top of this early onset Parkinson's nonsense. But the Wolf disease, what it did is like it gets into your back, it gets into your hips, it gets everywhere. But it literally decayed my back so bad. It had to open me up 10 levels here, open me up 10 levels on the back. I literally was like,
oh my God,
in ICU for a month. They thought I would not ever walk again. I was like, So the best story, since we have a little side story here. So when I was getting discharged from that, I was 2014. Yeah, I was getting discharged. The one ICU nurse was such a bitch, and the other one was so fabulous. But as I was leaving, I was like 90%. I couldn't stand up. I mean, I got myself back up standing and walking as much as I can. And then the one bitch was like, why do you bother using that? You have to be out in the wheelchair anyway to be discharged. She was like, plus, you're not going to walk again anyway. Get used to it. And I was standing there like this. I could barely lift up my head. And you know your friend now. And all I said to her was like, bitch, I'm so sick of you after a month. I'll be back here within a month or within a year or so. Like, I'll show you. And then the ICU nurse that took me down, because you know you have two assigned you basically the whole time you're in there. And there were some other randoms. These two were the main. The one that took me downstairs, but she dropped me in the wheelchair. She's like, I just love you, and I want to tell you something. You come back and show that bitch that you're walking. Don't disappoint me. I'm like, no way, I'm going to do it. And I did. But the problem is that Parkinson's was also raging on top of it. And so I didn't get it. So it's been a very roller coastery, rough couple of years as it's picked up.
Wow.
And I just have to do everything I can to fight it. It's not stopped me from working. It's not stopped me from being successful. And I am so grateful for all of that. But it does present unique challenges that may not. Someone will say to me like, oh my God, I have a headache. I can't get out of bed today. And I'll be like, okay, take an aspirin, take a shower, and go. See, that's the kind of guy that I am. Or I have a cold, like Wes. When he has a cold, he's dying. I'm always like, my God, if that was the case, Jesus. I'm not built that way. I don't know if it's because of all the shit that's happened, but I do know this, like life is precious and your time with people is precious. I don't get on a sentimental weirdo Bryan Garrity thing, but it's true. Like, love the people that love you. You don't stop loving the people that you keep going back to. I'm thinking of certain situations with friends. Like, no way, people will take it. Friends, bitches, I should say now. But you have to be, to me, to be in my life, like, if you're not real, if you're not transparent, if you're not authentic, you basically can fuck all the way off. I don't want you to know. So I know that sounds harsh, but hey, I'd rather people know me for who I am, my love.
No, I love that about you, and I think that's actually really important. And it's I was gonna say it's actually great to have no filter, because I don't know if you looked. I know you mentioned the energetics of things, but I mention this often because there's actually Garrett Brecka talks about it. But when you are coming from a place of authenticity all the time, you actually vibrate at the highest frequency, and that's the whole your vibe attract your tribe. So I am completely no filter as well, and I'm just like, I've learned to embrace extreme authenticity, and it's gonna attract who's meant for you and repel who's not in the best way possible. Just like we talked about earlier, where it's like, I think personally, like, you know, that's one of the best hacks to real estate, right? So I hear a lot of newer agents complaining about their clients, and I'm just like, well, your vibe attracts your tribe, you know? And it's like, if you're attracting that kind of client, like, what are you putting out in this world? You know, most of my clients become dear friends of mine. Some of them become some of my best friends. And I'm like, those are the kind of clients I'm working with, right? Like, yeah, like they become like my besties. Like, we start having dinner together and we start like hanging out all the time, and they refer like 10 other clients to me because they love me, right? Like, so I'm just like, I don't understand why y'all complaining about, right? So I think that's important, the whole authenticity and having no filter and caring about people, like you mentioned. That's very important. I think the caring about people. Yeah.
You know what you said is totally
it's
true.
Genuine.
It is. Like, there are people that cannot handle. They can't handle you being authentic. They can't have you saying, like, if they ask, I feel so bad before. I would never hurt everyone's feelings. Now I'm just like, someone asked me, like, do you want to be a part of what I'm building? No. Normally I would never have done that. I would have been like, well, I would love to do that, but right now, blah, you know what, maybe catch me in like 2 months, but like, oh my God, I'm so proud. Yeah, we could do that. No, the answer, no, I knew it when I was, so before I would have given the kind of answer I just said. Now, the first answer, like, no, is a complete sentence. Like, I didn't want to be 9,000 years old before I fucking got that. And okay, so I'm 8,000 years old and got it. But I'm glad I got it, Mama. I didn't realize how much of a people pleaser I always was. I did it. I know
Yeah,
I know
it's
I'm not a
okay.
dumb guy, right? But so like I've learned the hard way, like, wait, some of these bitches were just
Yeah.
around to see if like where you could take that. I'm just talking about people in general, not specifically. But I'm serious. I promise you, I did not because I'm not hardwired this way. I didn't understand that people latched on to people for opportunistic reasons. And that's kind of shitty in my opinion. Like I'll help anyone. I would do anything. I would take you to the moon if I could take you. If you called me and said, "Hey, I need this," I would get on the next plane and come help you. But it does repel. And what it repels is the really shitty awful. It does. And amen for that. Finally, I'm wrapping my head around it. We're like, oh my God, why did I get this like 20 years ago or even longer? Just let's say though, just why didn't I get this 20 years ago? I could have avoided some really shitty situations that twisted me up, broke my heart. I mean, I can't go down that path ever again. Just being honest with you. Personal and business do go
I
together. I
appreciate
know
your
people say
transparency,
you
and
can
it's
separate them. I go,
yeah, yeah,
I love you. I
no,
don't think in real estate there. Okay, or I love when someone else just be flippant and be like, "Well, that's business." It's like, wait, you're telling this client that's business, and you just fucked their whole life. Like, no, that's called your lack of competency and your dipshit. I want everyone around me or anyone that I have like like how I referred you already, and you're amazing. You're exactly like me. And what you did that I love is like, you're like, let me talk to the client. I have my advisors in the office, and then you put Bill and Mariana on it. I mean, it's like you're doing what really makes sense and what more people should be doing. And you give them the business to say, like, you're both going to work it. Like, that's how it should be, especially when people are newer or people want to know, how do I get from A to B? How do I move from just straight, like, if you want to call it non-luxury, I think treat everybody like a luxury experience. But just let's go to the real, true, like luxury market defined by like top 5% property price or top 10%, depending on what metrics you're using. All right, that is a whole different story. I treat everybody the same. I do, but I'll be honest with you. Some of my biggest deals have been actually the least problematic. Some of the smaller deals, it's just because the people are new or they've never bought a house or whatever, are different. I try to treat everybody the same. I really do, but like you're going to have to you're going to have to still tweak what you're doing based on some of the stuff in
yeah.
terms of what you're getting.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure. I agree
also
with you. I think, yeah,
I also wish people would more. And England Volkers is the first when I was saying like mind stuff that hit me where I'm like, shit, I always should have done that because I've always felt like I was a generalist. Does that make sense? Like I cover the county, if it's VA, FHA, whatever it is, seniors, this that. No, net. I love that EV is about specialization. So I really, really pare back to like I do luxury, seniors, and military. I'll help anybody, right? But I'm talking about like trying to specialize. I never really got that because I would always say like, oh no, there's too many people that need help across too many sectors, etc. Well, I might not be the best fit for everybody across all sectors. They may not be the best fit for me. So, EV, I like how you do that. Like you're like the guard gate. You know your people and your personality. I know you and Lisa run a tight ship. I don't have to worry about it ever. I just love you, and this is what I love about EV, the collaboration. I do.
yeah,
And the amazing humans
yeah.
like you that are
The
there.
riches
And
are in
that
the
I really, I
niches, is
can't.
what I always say. It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah,
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I had already started that. By the way, not, I always was like, not intentionally I had it. But then, no, I had in the last couple of years. I'm like, now I'm starting to see like very definite demographics hitting me. Those three demographics that I was putting most emphasis in is what's coming back to me. So anyway, I don't want to keep around that, but like people should, when they're interviewing an agent, ask, like, how many deals have you done? How active are you as an agent? What is your specialty? Do you know this area? Blah, blah, blah. I see a lot of people, the people that get in the bad situations when I talk to them, when they come to me to unwind it, I ask, like, did your agent ask you any questions? They're like, no, basically told me about his or herself. And then we just figured we signed. I was like, no. You think about things, you collect the information, you get the data. So I always bring an abundance, not a bunch of paperwork, but I am never not prepared in terms of what I'm going to do for them psychologically, as I was saying, like how certain things play out, why we price like this, why we market to this demographic. I love strategy. I love it. Anyway, I do really love the business. Someone's like, when are you going to retire? I was like, when I'm feeding the effing daisies and not going anywhere. I'm going to learn how to like maybe leverage some different things, but I don't, for me, like I'll probably like, I'll always be working. It just drives me and I love it. From the standpoint of, do I want to be doing that like nonstop restricted, my hands are tied? No, I also want to be giving back because I do a lot of speaking around the country too. So I want to be able to focus a little bit more on that as well. And I just feel like I've landed in the right place. We're at a time in this country, the unspoken pandemic that we're really going through right now is the fallout from the actual pandemic. Like, people aren't talking about it. People have gotten super crazy and super bitchy and very short fuses. And it's sort of like people have lost any sense of manners or being nice to people or kind. It doesn't take anything to be kind to somebody. Why do people go out of their way to be such bitches? I'm talking about wherever in the society lately. I don't get it. I don't. It bothers me. Anyway, that could be a topic for another day. I just really glad we got the time today because I adore you.
Aw, I love it. I adore you too. But we're running low on time. I know we usually, I try to cut it by like the hour mark. But I do want to ask you, like,
we're good.
I'm trying to think what should I wrap up with, because I was like, I feel like there's so many things I wanted to ask you that I didn't get to ask you because we kind of went off on a tangent, but totally okay. Yeah, no, because I wanted to see what would be. Let's see. I was like, maybe I'll ask you, like, what would be the top piece of advice you would give an agent that's in their first year of business? What is it? Why do you think agents fail, or why do you think they thrive? Or where do you get your first 5 clients from? Anything that you think would be valuable for an agent in year 1 of the business. Oh.
I would say year 1 of the business. Remember how we were talking about mentoring? Find a mentor. That would be my, no matter what, had we even not talked about it, that would be my number 1. Don't just go and say, hey, you're going to be a solo practitioner or solo advisor and take over the world. No matter how smart you are, that doesn't work. Trust me, I could give you some life lessons there. Find either a mentor or find a team that you can be on. And be open to the fact that this is not an easy profession. I know people say it's easy, not simple, or simple, not easy. Like, take all that hogwash out of there. No, it's not an easy profession. It's a very rewarding profession. For your first year, you have to be willing. Strip back all your ego, strip back all your bullshit, strip back everything you know, and be in an environment that aligns with you. That's brokerage wise too. Don't just jump to the first brokerage. Figure out which one pulls at your heart and aligns with you, and get in there and learn everything you can possibly learn from anyone, and ask, can I hold a house open? Can I shadow you on a listing appointment? That's the best thing you can do. Just lose your fucking ego for a year at least. All right, if you're going to go off and be a bitch after you're done with the year, that you can't be in our world, but like, then go be at XYZ place and go be that person. But as a new agent, don't give up. It's hard. You have to get out there. You have to be out there making relationships with people. That is what's going to give you a long-term sustainable business. You will have other people that will say cold call, do this or that. I've never cold call. That's not my thing. I know people that are very successful with cold calling. Like, I can't ever wrap my head around, like, who would hire someone that just called on the phone? I don't get it. So I mean, really, that's what it takes. And just know, like, you have to be 100% all in. This isn't a part-time hobby. So if someone's not going to commit full-time to real estate, I always say to them, like, I understand that, but yet I don't understand that, because doing it as a hobby doesn't serve any client. Doesn't. They're going to always have medium or poor representation when it's like that. So that would be my best advice. If you're going to do real estate, go all in, find the best brokerage, mentor, and open your mind and drop your ego. Those things.
Yeah.
How's that?
Action breeds confidence. I love what you said about doing the open houses and just getting out there, meeting people, because I feel like I hear so many complaints from agents, especially the newer advisors and agents that I mean, and they're just like, oh my God, it's so hard to get clients. I was like, I don't know how to do business. And I'm like, how many open houses are you sitting a week? How many events are you going to a week? Like, how many coffee meetings are you taking a week? Well, that shows me, right? How many social media posts are you doing a week? And I actually give them like this whole KPI playbook where it's very simple. Like, I broke it down so that it's like, this is your easy, like, IKEA instruction book. Basically, it's like, do 5 social media posts a week, attend 3 events a week, like, connect with 1 EV advisor a week. Like, I have it broken down so it's step by step. So I was like, if you follow what I'm giving you, you will succeed, but you need to take action. Like, you can't just sit there and wait for things to come.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So I love that you said that totally. Too. I was like, yes.
It really, it's cool. You just have to have it. Anyway, and I think where you thrive in the business, again, long-term sustainable business, right? Look back at everything. It's like, all my business comes from relationships. And those relationships didn't happen overnight. You got to grind. And when I say grind, I hate that word. You have to put in the amount of time and energy just so that, like, everything matches. And you also can't be like mishmashy. Like, you have to have a really definitive plan. So I like to save everybody. I know that's impossible. That is in my nature, though. Like new agents, when they call on one of my listings, I'm always like, sweet thing, I'm going to help you. Even though I just like to help them get along. And then I would be like, where the fuck is their mentor? Where the fuck is their team leader? Like, some of the questions I get are insane. Some of the contracts that I see, I'm like,
God, you and I are definitely kindred spirits.
It's like half complete. And totally, it's fucking insane, love. Anyway,
my God, we're definitely kindred spirits.
I love you. I told you. I
joke like I'm like everyone's broker, right? Because I was like, I have agents from other firms, from Berkshire, from KW, from all these other EXP that call me for advice. And I'm like, where's your broker? Like, I'm a broker, but I'm not technically your broker. Like, and it's just really funny because they'll call me for advice. And I'm just like, and I was like, did you ask your broker? And they're like, yeah, I don't think they know what they're talking about. Or like, oh, they don't really know 10. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird to me, but I'll help you because I just want to be nice. But it's kind of crazy that like people from other firms will call me for advice, and I was like, okay, I'm happy to answer your questions, but it's kind of funny that your own broker doesn't answer your questions.
It's a there's one more problem with the industry. People are worried about how things are being perceived and why it looks the way it does. Look at how fucking things are so mishmash, how they're practiced. There's no people. Maybe one bitch about one thing. The one thing, if you're a new agent, you better really, if you're going to go look at a brokerage because you think like, oh, they only are going to charge me $12,000 for the year. It's like, oh, good luck making the 12 because you probably won't. Or, I don't mean to be negative. I'm just saying, like, you've got to go to a place that fits your purpose, fits your heart, and you've got to be all in for at least the first or second, for every year. Like, it's not going away. But like that first or second year, if you're not busting your ass, then don't be wondering why 5 years from now you have no clients. And the other thing, we'll go after this. One other thing for new agents. Network with your local agents too. They're not your enemy. I don't understand. It should be a collaborative environment. People call me, like you said, like I get those all the time. I'm like, well, shit, I thought you just moved brokerages, which without naming names, I thought you just moved brokerages to so-and-so. Like, what do they do over there? So my thing is, and also if you're new, you need to ask, what is going to be provided? Does this align with me? What are the expectations? What I love about EV is like standards raised and standards enforced. There's plenty of companies that say they have standards that don't do shit. EV, like you said, 9 out of 10, they say no. You pull BS here, you'll be asked to leave. Other brokerages, they'll be like, don't do that again. But okay, no. This is why we have some bad people and actually some bad brokerages in the industry. Sorry. My humble opinion, let me clarify.
No, I love it. Thank you so much for making time again. I so appreciate learning more about you, and I'll definitely have to like connect with you and actually go through questions.